everyone, and welcome to this conversation presented by White House Custom Color. I'm Jed Toffer. Thanks for listening. You know, my wife Vicki and I have owned and operated our photography studio, V Gallery, for 20 years now. White House has been our lab for the last 16 of those years, and we could not be happier. White House is a family-run business, just like ours. If you haven't already, check them out at whcc.com. And if you want to drop me a line, feel free to email me at jed@whcc.com. I've always been fascinated by why people are the way they are. There's always the nature versus nurture piece, which is interesting in and of itself, but that aside, I think there's just so much that goes into what makes us, us. When I sat down with Nicki Hufford for a conversation, I was struck by her vibrance, her positivity, and a sense that she was fierce. Not in a bad way, but in a make-it-happen sort of way. After learning more about her and her background as a successful athlete and a strong competitor, I totally get it. Nicki really strives to be the best, and she doesn't let anything stand in her way. If she needs to get something done, she'll figure it out. That's just who she is. All right, Nicki. Who are you?
Oh, well, I'm Nicki Hufford. I'm from Warren, Ohio, which is a really tiny little town outside of, the easiest way to say it is Cleveland, but it's still about 45 minutes from Cleveland. But diehard sports fans, everything Cleveland, Ohio State,
Really?
OHIO, yep. So big sports fans. Played softball all the way through college. My daughter plays like crazy. So most of the time we're on a ball field if we're not out shooting and doing crazy stuff.
What position did you play?
She's a catcher.
What about you?
I was a catcher.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah. So yeah, it was a fun job, I guess you say. But yeah, so transitioned my business into seniors from weddings. So we used to shoot about 30 to 40 weddings a year. Got real sick of every weekend being gone. So
You got really sick of weddings?
Yeah, I got real burnout of weddings. So I decided to take that lighting that I was using in weddings all the time and apply it to seniors. And at that time, no one was doing it, like not on location at least. It was very rare to see it on location. So I was hooking lights up to like a generator in my car, running off my car battery. Because
Is that right?
Yeah, and this was 12 years ago. And it just wasn't portable. And like the stuff that was portable was really expensive.
Right.
So when I needed more power than a speed light, I just would figure it out, or my husband would, more likely.
Right.
But so yeah, it then kind of just built my whole senior business based on a look that nobody else was doing. And now it's like really getting popular. So now I think I've kind of trended in, I've said, I guess, but I focus a lot on athletes because that's what I love. Mm-hmm. So that's my target market. I love to green screen athletes. Hugely inspired by Ben Shirk. If you don't know who he is, you have to look him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love to build something out of nothing. So that's super fun for me as well. And I love the Photoshop side of it. And I could probably sit at a computer and just edit all day.
So you like the front side and the back side?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I like the creative part of Photoshop. If it's just like a super normal image, like like you always have that normal senior girl with the natural light in a field. Like I don't want anything to do with that. I'll send that out to Katie, but the photo editive, I should say. So she does a lot of my stuff.
Katie Hughes, right?
She's amazing. Mm-hmm. So, but I always keep the fun stuff. So I always apologize to her because I'm like, you get my worst work. I'm like, you get the stuff that's like, So, but yeah, I love creating something from nothing. I think it's really, really fun to, take an image on a green screen and just totally build a scene from other elements and other objects you've shot. And it's always a challenge. So it's been a process to learn, but it's been fun. So
what techniques do you use when you're separating?
Oh, I mostly use Ben's action. Mm-hmm. So Ben has an amazing action. It's worth every single penny. Yeah. But I am a firm believer that you work smarter, not harder. Yeah. So I've been sending a lot out. Yeah. So,
rebook you?
yeah, I've been sending them out and getting them back in like seriously 5 hours. So why even waste my time?
Right.
So
they do your separation.
Yeah, they've been doing just recently. So up until about 3 weeks ago, I was still doing every single one, but I got so sick of it. So
yeah, that part can be grueling.
Yeah. So, but I will plug for Ben's Action that it's like a one click and it's done. So it's pretty. Yeah, for the most part, it's not too hard. So I think people overcomplicate it.
Right.
So yeah. Yep.
You like doing all the stuff after that though, the compositing.
Yeah. So yeah, I love building it. I went around to all of my local schools and I shot at all the football fields. So I have a lot of stock images. I try to get in the basketball courts and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that way, when they come into me and they're like, "But I really want to be in my court," I'm like, "No, listen, I can control every aspect here.
I will make it your court."
Yeah, I will make it your court, but I can control every aspect here, and I can't control it when I'm at your location. Because if I only brought 4 lights and I feel like I need 5, I can't do that.
Right.
So I can't add glowy like light flares and so now at this point in time, now that I'm about 4 years into it now, they trust me now. Like I maybe have shot 2 or 3 seniors on location and for sports since then.
But everybody else you shoot, do you have a studio?
Yeah, I have a full studio. I have a full studio in downtown. Yeah, it's not real big, but I'm a firm believer you don't need a huge space. So
I'm also a believer.
Yeah,
you don't need a huge
I feel like sometimes these studios, I'm like, wait, there's so much overhead. So
yeah, there is.
Yeah, I have such a small little space, and I love it, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
But my husband and I are in the process of custom building something on our property.
Oh, nice.
So we're kind of in the start of that process. Just because. Even though I don't want a huge space, I feel like I want it to be exactly what I want. So, and it's been really hard to find it since I live in a small town. Everything's older, and so kind of want to just build something to my style. And so at your own house is kind of nice too. So, so that's kind of our next step in our next process in this whole crazy journey it's been. So
why photography for you?
So my grandfather was really big into photography. When he was in the Korean War, he had albums and albums and albums and albums of images. And that's probably actually why I took my journey in college and decided to be a history major, because I loved the history behind the photographs. But I think in college, I realized that it wasn't necessarily the history, it was the photographs. So I had always, because of him and his influence, I always was super interested in photography, and he had dark rooms, and my dad owned a print shop, so I learned graphic layout and that kind of thing really early on too. Like he was an early adapter into the Mac and Photoshop, and because that's what his job was.
Right.
So, and he had a full dark room and like everything else. So it was like I was around all that my whole life. So even though I'm a younger photographer, I have a lot of the old influence. So when I'm editing, I'm doing a lot of dodging and burning, like you were doing on films and things like that. So, but I looked at my grandfather's stuff, and he was like the way he was chopping portions of negatives out to do creative things that I'm currently doing now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's so weird to look back at the photos now and be like, wow, I can see where it's come, but it was so much more work to do what I do now. So it's really cool. But I'm the oldest of 8, so my siblings started growing up and they started playing sports and stuff. And I was bored at games, so I just started picking up a camera and I started shooting. And I was always like to be a coach or closer to the game, so it got me closer to the game. Yeah. I was like, if I shoot football pictures, I get on the field access. Right, I loved it. Right. So next thing I know, I'm shooting tons of pictures for them, which then led into, hey, could you do my engagement pictures? Or, hey, could you take so-and-so's 5th birthday pictures? And I was like, yeah, whatever, And next thing I know, I was getting big tips, and I was young. I was like early 20s, so I'm still in college. So I was like, well, okay, if you want to pay me. Right. And it just kind of developed from there. I booked it, and then I booked a senior session, and I never touched a light before, rented a studio for it because I felt like, okay, was like my first big paid gig, you know?
Yeah.
And I think I made like $150. The studio rental probably cost me $75. But they had lights there, and I was like, what are these things? I've never seen these before.
Yeah.
So I spent an hour trying to turn the dang thing on. I had no idea what to do. Frustrated, but I was determined, and I still have those images, and it's so funny because they look so much like my current style. By accident. I had no idea what I was doing. So I'm a firm believer of turning things on and playing and just having fun with it and being frustrated, because I think that's part of the learning process. And I feel like so many people nowadays are afraid to experience that. They're afraid to experience frustration. And I think through frustration and through, that low points is when you get the high points. So
they're necessary?
I think, yeah.
The frustration is necessary.
So. And I think that comes from me being an athlete and learning that, because in practice, you were always told, when you make a mistake, you learn from it.
Right.
So, and I feel like in the photography world, in any career, like it's okay to make mistakes.
Right.
So many people are afraid to fail that they won't challenge themselves.
Why are so many photographers afraid to fail?
I think it's probably because it's their livelihood. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to fail when you're putting food on the table.
Right.
And it gets easier the more experience you go, and the more times that you take a challenge and run with it, and it gets easier. You learn the process of, that didn't kill my business to try that out.
Failing gets easier?
Yeah, failing gets easier. Yes, absolutely. And
and you also can learn. Mm-hmm. Does it get easier because you realize afterwards what you've learned from the process?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm absolutely totally fine with failing. Because it's not going to kill me, because I failed enough times to realize that I'm going to rebound from that stronger.
Can you think of a fail?
Oh, yeah. Probably one of my biggest fails that are always in marketing. Like, I think I'm not a business person at all. I think I'm a very good salesperson. I'm very good with people, but I'm not very good at marketing. Like, I was just telling Amanda earlier, and I was like, there's a reason I just buy your products, because I'm not good at that side. And I own it, and it's okay to own what you're not good at.
Right.
But
recommended maybe.
Yes, exactly. So sometimes, I'll throw something out, and I feel like I really marketed it really well, and I'm like, it's gonna fly off the shelves, and I'm like, nobody bought it.
Crickets. Right.
Crap.
Right.
So, and it's mostly times when I'm trying to do something that's not me, I feel like. So I've learned that through these last 10 years plus years or so. But when I'm trying to branch off into something that's not necessarily my normal aesthetic, that's typically. So I've learned that sometimes you have to maybe pull in a model for free and proof concept, and then now everybody wants it. So.
Right. That's an interesting example, actually.
So,
Failure is necessary.
Okay. Failure's all right. Stop being afraid to fail. So that's.
How much effort do you put into social media?
Because
you're not a good marketer, you said.
No, I'm really not. Social media is a struggle for me. I don't hate it. I mean, I enjoy social media, but I just, I'm not somebody that's going to get on a live video and be like, guys, look what I'm creating.
Yeah.
That's just not me. It's not organic. And I feel like if it's not organically me and I have to force it, then it's not going to work to my clients. Plus my target client is so busy, they're probably not going to watch that anyways.
Right.
So, I've just kind of let my social media grow organically. I really knew from the very beginning of social media that if I was going out there and searching for followers and likes and things like that, then it wasn't going to be my target clients.
Yeah.
So I would be spending a whole lot of money marketing to people that weren't going to use me anyways. So, so I just let it kind of slowly grow. I do have a pretty good following, I feel like. But it's taken a lot of work, and me being uncomfortable a few times to get there. Yeah, it's. I try to stay consistently posting, and I'm not a lot of fluff. If you go through my social media, you're not going to see a lot of stories about this, or like that's. I'm like, here's this person, here's the image, let it speak for itself.
Right.
And I think just staying consistent with posting is the biggest thing. As long as you stay in their face, you're going to book. The moment that you step back, even for a little bit, like I'm not going to lie, last 3 weeks, my social media has been pretty down. But, you just have to be consistent and consistently posting and showing a variety of work. I feel like sometimes people worry too much about like what their feed looks like.
Yeah.
Like my clients book me because I can shoot the hard light and I can shoot the natural light.
Right.
So I'm okay to mix it.
Right.
Because that means I get the pretty cheerleader who wants the soft, pretty flowers,
right.
but I can also get the athlete who wants the hard light, you can get the kid that wants both.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. So variation.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. So, I mean, but there's a lot of people that say the opposite, like you stick to a style and that's your style. But for me, variations worked really well. So
variation is your style.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
Yes.
It also seems to me that some people don't show both because they can't do both.
Yeah, and that's probably it. We talked last night on my shooting pod, and I told them I think that's why I'm booking when so many people aren't.
Right. Because you're versatile.
Yeah. And I'm like, whatever they have in mind, I can do. But I saw that coming a long time ago when everybody started picking up a camera and a lot of competition started happening. I was raising my prices.
Right.
And I couldn't figure out for a long time what that was. And it hit me. It really did. I was like, it's because whatever they want, they know I can provide.
Right.
So I think those people that only specialize in natural light that are struggling, it might be what they need. So if you're doing great and that's all you're doing and you're booking like crazy, then go for it. Don't change a thing.
Right. Don't fix it if it's not broken.
But if you're struggling and something's missing, maybe you need to offer something different that nobody else is offering. Mm-hmm. So in most markets, it's lighting. And it's lighting not just at sunset. Everybody pulls out a light at sunset. I don't even shoot at sunset. So I shoot from 9 to 2. Like that's it. So
middle of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. So
what are you doing to compensate for those challenges?
Use the light. So I mean it's the same premises of dark lighting. I mean of lighting a room and things like that. A lot of open shade, but I'll also throw them right in the middle of the sun. And overpower the sun with a strobe. I love shooting at like F-17s and stuff like that because it's different there again. And that's kind of what I with athletes, I wanted to show everything. I wanted to show every muscle. So my style with that type of lighting developed from athletes, but then transitioned into fashion world. So my fashion stuff is probably way different than a lot of people's, but it grabs attention. So.
It's harder in general, you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, but I'm okay with that. That's my look. But I have some girls that come to me in their questionnaires and stuff for seniors, and they're like, I don't want to look hard. I'm not edgy. I'm like, that's fine. I can shoot both. Let's go. You know?
You could do both.
Yeah, we're good. So it's all right. Just because that's my go-to doesn't mean that I have to shoot that way. But I also don't have to post your pictures. So, if it's not my style and I'm not like thrilled with it. You don't have to post it because you're looking for that client that wants what you love. So
you're married.
I am.
And is your business your business?
Yes. Well, it's both of ours for sure. So it's been about 5 years now. Mm-hmm. I essentially looked at my husband and I said, "This is not working. You're working full time. I'm working triple time building this business," and I was making way more than we needed and I was doing well and I was like, quit. So
is that right?
Yeah. So he quit a very good job. Some of our family looked at us like we were insane, but I was like, I need him. Like I need him and I don't want to pay somebody. So he can be here to run our kid around, our kid that's insanely busy.
Right.
and he can help me. So he's the best human light stand out there, is what I say. He knows exactly where I want my light, but so does my 11-year-old. So it's absolutely a family business.
You have two good light stands.
I do. And I will bring them. I can bring them, either one of them, on a shoot, and they both know exactly where I want things. Neither one of them want anything to do with being a photographer, but they, like my 11, well, she's 12 now. Sorry, Maddie. My 12-year-old like loves being there on set, but she'll call my sessions now. So think about it.
She'll call.
She will call. Here's the thing though. I have a built-in kid that's in my market sitting in my living room every night.
Yeah.
She knows exactly what they want.
Yeah.
So so I just taught her, I'm like, just 5-star the ones you like.
Wow.
So, and she's like, okay. I mean, this is what they do all day long.
Everybody would want that.
This is what they do.
Because they're going through Instagram all day long, right?
They do this all day long on Instagram. They heart images that they like.
That's interesting.
So
we all, to some degree, lots of people call every day.
Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't like hard to teach her. Wow. And I'm like, if you're stuck between two, mark them both. And I can look then.
Right.
But she's a lot more in touch with what is going on in the industry, our industry, than I am. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow.
So I have a senior that also I've been photographing this girl since she was 8. So she started working for me this year too, just to kind of, because Maddie's schedule is getting busier and Paul's schedule with Maddie, then so on days that they can't do, she fills in. And she's the same way. I'm like, Lauren, which one should I post? So use your kids. Like, use the kids you're photographing, the ones that you get close to. Like, they will absolutely help you. And then they're invested, and they're going to only sing your praises more. So
is that the best way to have your praises be sung, is by?
I think so. I've been all word of mouth.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not going to say I've never paid for ads. I mean, I spend a lot of money on Google for Google rankings.
You do?
Oh, absolutely. I think you're dumb if you're not. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially in an industry like this, if you're not on that number one in your area, you're doing something wrong. So, it's hard to get there. It's a little easier probably in my market because it's not huge.
Right.
But we have some very well-known photographers that have been on the cover of Senior Style Guide in my little teeny tiny town.
Right.
So we have there's some talent. So even though there's not 800 photographers like in Houston, we might only have 30 or 40, but it's still, the talent that's there is very talented. So I'm still competing for business, even though it's a smaller market. We're still competing for kids, but I definitely, I have no problem paying for ads like that. I do it on Facebook and social and Instagram a little bit, at least 2 or 3 times a month. I'll run something on there just to keep me up in the feeds. And I really feel like with the changing algorithms all the time, that's what they kind of want you to do. So the more that the more you're feeding their ads,
that's probably what they want.
Exactly. So I'm fine. It's like, essentially, I wish they would just, Facebook would just, and Instagram would come and say, for a business, pay this per month and you're always going to be seen, but that's not going to happen.
Right.
So I'll play by their game. It's okay. So, and what does it hurt? What does it hurt? Because it's unfortunately, it's hard to tell directly if the bookings are what they're coming from, but being in front of people daily, I think is key. So,
how much of your energy and your discipline do you attribute to your athletic background?
A lot. I've said this quite a few times. I'm very competitive because of it. Yeah. And I had to time management well in college with softball. And I had to learn how to work with others as teammates. I mean, there's so many things that I learned from my background in sports that helped me and drive me. When you're playing with a team and you're playing at top levels of sports, there's some days that you just want to not do anything, but you have to get your workout in or something. So it's kind of the same way. Like, some days I'm like, the last thing I want to do right now is work on my website, but I have to. But I definitely think there's I struggle with boundaries with it. Is my problem.
Ooh, go into that a little bit.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
I will. I'm a complete workaholic. I think because of it.
Oh.
Because I think most athletes get very obsessive
I see.
with it. So, so I get very obsessive with my business, and there's sometimes that I have to physically, like my husband will pull me back and be like, "Wait, stop! Like,
Yeah.
I haven't seen you for 3 weeks,
Yeah.
so come up for light." So,
Yeah.
but I've gotten better. I like just finally taught myself to edit on a laptop instead of a desktop.
Right.
And so I will go to my office instead, my studio, and try to edit there.
Yeah.
And trying not to take it home as much. And so that's helped. But yeah, I definitely think a lot of it has contributed. There's definitely a flow there. And more than anything, it's a competitiveness.
Right.
Because I always want to be better than everybody else.
Right.
Like, I always want to win the award. I always want to, like, and it's just...
And you're willing
Yeah.
to do what it takes.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Right.
yeah, if it takes me going to New York City for the shoot to be better than everybody, I'm like, okay. I'm like, let's go. We're going right now.
Then you're
Like,
going to do that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So...
What does the next 10 years look like for you
You know what?
in your hopes and dreams?
Yeah. I have about 5 years left of my daughter, 5, 6 years.
Right.
So right now I'm happy where we are. I'm going to work as hard as I possibly can to give her everything she needs for those next 6 years. I'm probably overbooking myself, and that's okay. Because I just want to make sure that if she wants it, if she needs this for softball, if I need to take this time off, we're good. So, so for the next 5, 6 years, I see myself kind of where I am right now. We'd like to build a studio, so I feel like I'm wasting so much money on rent. So
Yeah.
I'd much rather put it into our property
Right.
is essentially what that is.
Right.
So we're going to build probably the new studio, but beyond that, lots of softball, lots of pictures. There's a few things I want to learn. I want to get better at. Like, I feel like I'm pretty good at studio lighting, but I want to get a little bit better at it. I want to get more of a little bit of an editorial feel. I feel like I'm still stuck a little classic there. So I've got to, go out and learn that a little bit better. But learning, I'm a huge I love learning. So I always love learning and getting better and picking people's brains and seeing what's out there. And I'm not afraid to make a change. I think I'm going to be making some big pricing changes soon. I'm kind of going more to the digital route because that's what they want. Let's be honest. But you can still make money doing that. Like,
Right.
if you
Right.
price yourself correctly, I don't feel like I'm going to lose anything if I
Right.
do that. So, and I think it's honestly less work. So I'm looking at maybe some high-end packages like that. But after she's gone, we are huge campers. We love the RV.
Oh.
So we plan to probably split time. So I haven't decided what my second hub will be, but we hate winters in Ohio. So we will probably go down south, and I will essentially build a secondary business down there.
Yeah.
And so, and we'll split time. So probably wherever my daughter ends up at school.
Right.
Because let's be honest, So
that makes sense.
yeah. So I'm like, I could go shoot half the year here and half the year here. I mean,
Right.
it might be between 2 or 3 places. But that's why I travel a lot, and I'm not afraid to go and shoot crazy places.
Right.
Because I have to prove, I'm in my mind, I'm already thinking I need to prove concept for those years in the future.
Right.
That I can shoot anywhere. So, so I'm kind of proving concept right now with a lot of destination shoots
Sure.
and traveling and shooting at crazy locations and then, so when I do decide to make a move potentially someplace else half the year, I'm already like, listen, I've been here 7 times. I
You're
know
getting
your
ready.
industry. Yeah.
Right.
So, yep, exactly.
Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Oh, everywhere. So I'm on Twitter, I'm on Insta, I'm on Facebook, I'm on the big ones. So I'm on Snapchat, not probably real active there, but I am there. You can friend me or whatever, add me. I think it's there. But
What's your
so
website?
everywhere. NickiHuffordPhotography.com.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, and that's another thing. People should know you by your name. Like, I'm a firm believer.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm like, they have all these fancy names, and I'm like, wait, who owns this? Like, so unfortunately, I don't have like a fun name. Like, some people have super fun names, and it works. Like my friend Trevor Ray, like his Trevor Ray Photography. Like, Trevor Ray looks awesome as a logo. Nicki Hufford Photography, not so much. So I don't have a real great branding logo, but I don't know. I've paid some really good graphic designers, and they're like, dude, I have got nothing for you.
Nothing.
And they're like, this is awful. So, yeah, but, yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time doing this.
Yeah, not a problem. Thank you.
This has been a lot of fun.
Awesome.